Hey guys, good morning. So we're going to get started right quick today. I'm going to have everything set up the same way that I do normally. I have open my essay. I have my note cards open up for my research paper. I have open my handout for introducing my quotes. So today we are going to be writing our body paragraph 3. We're going to be introducing 2 quotes. In my body paragraph 3, this time I'm going to have 3 quotes, and 2 of my quotes are going to be back to back. So I'm going to show you what to do in that case. And we're just going to jump right on in. And I'm going to have everything set up like I normally do. So let's go right into it. I'm going to share my screen with you and let's get started. Okay, so you guys will notice that I have my screen set up the same way I normally do. I have my key point 3 on my paper. And that key point today is what happened at Woodstock 1999 that was so different from the 1969 Woodstock. So my first section that I'm going to have is going to be my topic section. And I'm going to start off with writing that. My topic section is going to be the same way that it always is. It's going to be a topic sentence that tells the reader what the paragraph will be about in 1 to 2 sentences, depending on my writer's style. And I'm going to go ahead and write that. I'm going to pause the video so that you can have time to write while I'm writing. And while I pause, you're going to go ahead and write. I'm going to write, and then we're going to come back and confer. So I'm going to pause. You're going to write. Let's get to it. Okay, so I have my topic sentence right here. Let me go ahead and label it. Section 1, topic sentence. I'm just going to go up here and copy. Save some time. Down here. Comment. Okay. So I have my topic sentence. It tells the reader what the paragraph will be about in 1 to 2 sentences, depending on my writer's style. And it says, the times and people change. The 90s ushered in a new wave of musical numbers that welcomed heavy riffs and violent lyrics. So now I can move on to my second section. So my second section is going to be the brief narrative for context and background. This is going to be where I assume that my reader is very smart enough to deserve to read my paper. They just don't have a whole lot of background knowledge on this particular key point. So I need to give them that background knowledge, that information as to why people are still talking about this particular key point and what it has to do with my topic. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pause for a brief second, I'm going to write about it, and then we're going to come back, confer, and I'm going to write my little comment over here to the right-hand side. So I'm going to go ahead, write, pause, come back, okay? Okay, so now I have my second section. Here, typo. Okay, so this is my second section. No more were the days of flower children and peace demonstrations. We were living in the days of teen spirit and school shootings. The late 90s brought about the resurgence of Woodstock with much different teenagers who seemed to just not care. So I have my brief historical context it's a brief narrative for context, and it gives my reader, my audience, some background information as to why people are still talking about this particular key point. Now I need to just label it, section 2. I'm going to come up here, I'm going to copy this, come down here. That didn't go as planned. Sometimes things just, that's okay. So we try again. There we go. Perfect. Section 2 is a brief narrative for context that assumes the reader is smart enough to deserve to read your paper. They just don't have a whole lot of information on the topic. Include 1 to 2 sentences on the who, what, why this key point is relevant to your issue. Excellent. Now, -3, that's okay. Writer style. Writer style. Writer style. Okay. So now I'm going to go in and I'm going to put in my quote. So just like with every other time, I'm going to come up here to my note card section, and I've already got mine planned out, ready to go. And I'm going to be on note card number 34. So My note card 34 says one young man, David DeRosia, died after suffering hyperthermia, not to be confused with hypothermia, probably secondary to heat stroke while in the mosh pit during Rage Against the Machines set. I'm going to be tweaking this particular quote just a tad bit. I'm going to be using my ellipses and my brackets to input and remove some information. And I'm going to be changing it to say, I don't want it to be highlighted because I only want the last name to be highlighted. It's going to say, one young man died from hyperthermia. That's what I want to say. Okay, copy that. Is by last name Andrews. This here is my paper. Recounting. So let me pause this. I'm going to go ahead and write my quote. I'm going to introduce it. I'm going to quote it, and then I'm going to cite it. So let me pause. I'm going to go ahead and write. You do the same. We'll confer back. We'll meet. Let's get to it. Okay, so I have my quote inside of my paper. So this is my note card number 34. I have recounting the events, reporter Travis Andrews from the Washington Post writes that one young man died from hyperthermia secondary to heat stroke while in the mosh pit. So this is not the beginning of my sentence, so I'm going to put that into lowercase right here. And I have his name, the author of my article or the author of my quote, Travis Andrews. He is cited inside my sentence, so I have his name highlighted. Excellent. I'll be able to easily find that within your paper. Perfect. And I have my quote right here. It's in quotation marks. Love it. If I put his name at the end, it would need to be in quotation marks, or not quotation marks, parentheses. Sorry about that. So it's easily available. Now I just need to label it. I'm going to go up here. Section 3, highlight this, copy, make it easy for me. Comment. Now I'm going to go ahead and analyze it. I'm going to pause. I'm going to write. You're going to do the same. Let's go ahead. Okay, so I have my analysis on the page. It reads, this illustrates that our audience hadn't changed much. They were still making poor decisions. Not only did this person have little regard for themselves, but they didn't care for the people's enjoyment around them that would be ruined in their quest for a good time. So I need to go ahead and label this as my section 4. This is analyzing the quote. It explains the significance of the quote to my paper. Of all the quotes, this one helps to further my point. It helps. Okay, so I've copied this. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to label. And then comment. Excellent. Now it's time to go ahead and add in another quote. I'm going to go ahead and introduce my quote. I'm going to quote it, and I'm going to cite it. Now, this particular quote is going to be a little bit different, as in because I'm going to have 2 note cards that I'm going to use, and they're going to be back to back. Now, they're both going to be from author Travis Andrews from the Washington Post. I'm going to use these 2 note cards in one sentence, and I'm going to do it by joining them together. I'm not going to use them by combining the information. I'm going to link them up, but I'm also going to have some words of my own in the middle, kind of like a compound sentence. I'm going to use some conjunctions in the middle to combine them. there's going to be some words that are lingering there in the middle to as like a placeholder, but you're going to see how there's one piece of information here, a few words in the middle, and then there's another piece of information on the other side of those words that they're talking about the same topic, but they're two independent thoughts. So I'm just going to go ahead and show you guys how I do that. I am going to pause, but I'm going to show you on my paper where they are together. So I'm going to pause. When I come back, you're going to see where they are together. Okay, so I have my last quote for this paragraph placed on my paper. So it reads, another case that this occurred was when guys would surround a girl and aggressively chant for her to flash them. Not to mention the final day's descent into riots with attendees tearing down scaffolding and setting fire to everything. So you'll notice that right here I have my author cited, and then again I have my author cited right here. So I've used two quotes, one right here, and then another right here. I've used my 35 card right here, and then I've used my 36 card right here. Now, I don't want to have my author's name in the middle of my sentence right here, and then again at the end. So logically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it out right here. That's it. Seem difficult? It's not. I'm just going to use the author's last name right here at the very last time that I cite him in the sentence. So if you're using a couple of words in between the citations, that's okay. You're just going to cite the author at the end of the sentence. That's it. That's all. I just thought it was going to be some big secret. Well, it's not. Okay, so I have my quote. I'm going to go in here. I'm going to tag it real quick. I'm going to label it with my section 5, and then I'm going to go ahead and add in my analysis. So let me go and copy this. Now I'm going to go in, type my analysis real quick. I'm going to pause it. I'm going to have my analysis written up. Then I'm going to come back in and label it. So give me 1 second. You go do the same. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so I have my analysis written, and it reads, there was a true difference in the two shows. 30 years of change had occurred. Our world was no longer a soft and safe place. Woodstock had devolved into a brutal and animalistic display of primitive teenage angst. So that is my analysis. And I'm going to go ahead and label it. I'm going to come up here, copy this section 6 portion. Copy. Just go ahead and label this. This is my analysis. Comment. And now I'm ready to go in and write or type my section 7, which is going to be my transition sentence. Now, please remember that your transition sentence is always going to be one sentence. This is never a negotiation. This is one sentence that transitions seamlessly from topic to topic. This is going to take you into your 4th and final key point. Okay? If you have more key points, that's fine. It is not necessary. It is not mandatory. You are mandatory to have 4 key points unless you are a special circumstance that we have already talked about. So you will have your last transition into your 4th key point. This is your last roller coaster ride. So my last key point is going to be, what is the general benefit of musical concerts? Can Woodstock be great again? So I'm going to go in here, type that out. KP 4. What is the general benefit of musical concerts, Can Woodstock be great again? So that is what I need to keep in mind when I'm writing my topic or my transition sentence, and that's section 7. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to write my transition sentence. I'm going to come back. I'm going to pause this, and I will see you in a minute. You go ahead and write yours as well, and we will convert. Okay, So I have my transition sentence and it reads, what should have been a therapeutic and fun show to be remembered for the ages turned into an infamous train wreck. This was unlike other concerts, which are known for their spiritual and soothing nature. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and label this. This is my transition, section 7, copy. I'm going to go ahead and label this in my comment section so that you guys have access to them. Perfect. I'm going to get rid of my KP3 portion. All right, hit enter, and it's already tabbed for me so that it looks spotless. And now I have my KP4 ready to go for my next section for you guys whenever we're writing. Okay, guys, I have loved being here with you today. I have loved writing with you today. I have loved planning with you today. Okay, now I need one last thing to do. I'm going to go into my note cards. I'm going to turn the cards that I used red. So I have my note card 34. That's going to be red because I used it. My note card 35. That's going to be red because I used it. And my note card 36. That's going to be red because I used it. So I know that my 34, 35, 36 are off limits to me to use in my next body paragraph. So I have that taken care of. I'm going to have my handouts pulled up and placed in the Schoology page for you to use today, and everything will be ready for class. I hope you have a great day. And if you have any questions, send me a message and remind, or send me an email. You guys are doing so wonderful. Thank you. Have a good one. Bye.